This is Doug Lindsay with Autofocus Cars and Vids, and today we're going to do the long-anticipated aftermarket exhaust video. It's been almost a year since I ordered and then eventually had delivered a FabSpeed Valvetronic Exhaust for my 2014 Porsche Boxster S. I had it installed at the Porsche dealership, so since the beginning of 2022 I've been driving around with the aftermarket exhaust. And today we're going to do a bit of filming and try and record some of the sounds and let you know a little bit of what it was like. Is this a great buy? Is this a terrible buy? Is it both? Let's take a look. All right, so here's how we're going to do this. I've got my camera set up with a shotgun microphone. It's aimed at the car. It is 2 Doug Lindsays away from the exhaust. I forgot to bring the tape measure, so I laid down, marked the spot, laid down a second time and marked the spot. Basically, this is running audio into the camera, and I'm gonna rev up the car and we're gonna see how it does, and then we're gonna run the decibel meter as well. So at 12 feet away, we get 88 decibels. That's in closed mode. Now we have the valves open. We're in loud mode. We're going to see how we do. All right, we're going to do a second test. So 12 feet away, the highest, the quiet mode was 88 decibels and loud mode was 89. That's probably not accurate. That's probably too far away. This time I'm going to stand 6 feet away and we're going to film the decibel meter. I don't know what the optimal distance is for recording the volume of an exhaust. I don't know what they're doing on the track. I hear if it's over 95, you have a problem. This exhaust is loud as hell. Man, if this really is 89 and you're over 95, you probably do have a problem. But I've heard that even a stock Evora can be over 95. So I'm guessing that the way I'm recording and the way they're recording are getting different results. I'm gonna rev it. We're gonna put it in quiet mode first, see how we do, then switch to loud mode. I am gonna film the decibel meter. Still at 88. All right, I'm gonna get a little closer. Still nothing higher than 88. So clearly I don't understand how to use a decibel meter very well. Maybe I'll read online and try again someday, but the idea that me singing quietly is 85, that me yelling is 86, and that this exhaust is 89 when you're letting it rip, no matter how damn close or far we are, I feel like something's off. So hopefully we got a lot of great exhaust sounds for everybody to hear, and I'll get you some more info on what it's like to drive. We're gonna go inside the car and you're gonna hear what happens between 1800 and 2300 RPM, and then when I open it up. So I'm gonna put up the windows and drive, and we're gonna see what happens at the different RPMs. We are in quiet mode. You may hear our lovely friend, the Valentine 1 Gen 2, chirping away a little bit. We are near an airport, so there is no quiet for the Valentine 1 because there's lots of radar. Up until 1900 RPM, it's just fine. Above 2600 RPM, it's just fine. There's an area in the middle where the engine is just fine unless it's under load, and then it is boomingly loud. Not growling, tough, awesome highway loud, but just booming, droning loud. There it is. So this is the worst of having the FabSpeed exhaust. So this is in loud mode. And when you're getting after it on a backcountry road, loud mode is great. But if you think you're going to drive on the highway with the valves open, like people say, oh, sports exhaust, I turned it on, never turned it off. Good for you, buddy. But see, once it's over once it's over 2,500, you get pleasing engine noises and not drone. So, what did you think of the exhaust? I looked over the footage and I realized there was no summation. There was nothing that summed up the experience, and there was also some other info missing. So let me give you that now and then give my final assessment, and then I'll ask you what you think. So, the exhaust was about $3,600. I got it from a company called Euro Tuning, which I think is down in Florida. What was powerful about that is it was lower priced than the competitors, and it didn't have sales tax. So once you're in the $3,500 range, sales tax, which can be 10% in some places, the sales tax at my dealership is 10%. That's a real savings at that point. Also, the install was about $1,000. I had the dealer do it because I didn't want anybody carping. My car was under warranty, and I didn't want anybody complaining or suggesting that there was anything wrong with this modification. The dealer did it. The reason it was so expensive is, one, it's the dealer, but two, it was the labor to remove the old exhaust. The old exhaust is held in by rivets rather than bolts and screws and such, and they needed to be drilled out. What do I think? Well, I wish I had gotten a chance to drive a car with Porsche sports exhaust. I wish I had gotten a chance to spend days with that, living with it, and see whether it was loud enough for my tastes. I looked at the Porsche sports exhaust and I decided to go aftermarket instead. And I think, frankly, most of the aftermarket exhausts are going to be pretty loud. And since the drone is a feature of the engine rather than the exhaust, I think most of the aftermarket exhausts are going to have that kind of drone in the 3.4 liter in the 981 Boxster S, or the GTS of that era, or the 4.0 liter in the 718 Cayman and Boxster. That one also has a similar drone, but maybe at a slightly different RPM. So it's something about the exhaust layout or the engine that creates a drone right around 2,000, which is frustrating because that's the optimal RPM for fuel economy. Would I do it again? Is the exhaust awesome or stupid, as I asked earlier? Frankly, it's both. My girlfriend can't listen to music in the car with the exhaust, whether it's on loud or quiet. I can listen to music, but I often don't. Sometimes that's because I'm being cool and I'm soaking in the drama of that roaring and howling flat six. And other times it's just because it's too much noise. The exhaust is just plain loud. Unless the valves are open and you're in sport mode, I don't think it's obnoxious, but it's always loud. And so if that's what you want, is an exhaust that changes the character of the car and wakes it up, you can get it. Like I said, the exhaust is a matrix. It's not a valve open, valve close thing, because sport changes the nature of the tuning or of the engine. So in standard mode, it has fewer burbles when you let off the throttle, and in sport mode it has more, and sometimes it even has the crackles and pops. It makes quite a ruckus. And so there is normal, valve closed, which is the quietest. There's normal, valve open.
And then there's sport with the valves closed or sport with the valves open, which is the loudest. I didn't notice any difference between Sport Plus and Sport. But take a look. So let's listen to one more run. So that's what the exhaust sounds like when it's doing its thing and when you're on it. And I think it's great. Would I do it again? Yes. Like I said, I wish I'd had a chance to experience Porsche sports exhaust to see if that was loud enough, because I know that it doesn't have as annoying a drone in quiet mode. And surely this is louder. But a lot of YouTubers, a lot of car people, get aftermarket exhausts. It is a thing. It's not a mistake. But be aware, it is loud. They can tell you there's no drone. On this model, as best I can tell, it doesn't matter the manufacturer, there's gonna be this drone. If you can live with it, like I do, then maybe you'll love it. And if I could give it back and have the money back, I wouldn't take it. But I do wish that I could have somewhere in the middle, something between the Porsche sports exhaust and the raucousness of the FabSpeed. I'd hope the Valvetronic, with its quiet and loud modes, was that thing in the middle. But it's Spinal Tap. You can turn it up to 10 or you can turn it up to 11. Before, over 60 miles an hour with the top down, the exhaust was gone, unless you were above 6,000 RPM, and then you could hear something. But the wind noise would drown out the exhaust. That was too quiet. That doesn't happen now. And that part is awesome. So what do you think? If you had the car, would you do it? Could you make out the exhaust tones? Could you make out the drone? Did I do a good enough job recording the sound and switching between microphones to give you a feel of what the exhaust was like? And if you had the car, would you get it? FabSpeed makes a beautiful product. It turns out that I like the little remote. It comes with a remote that turns it on and off, rather than a button that sits next to Sport Plus and those things in the little center console. I thought that was going to be stupid, but to me it dangles from the keys. It's very easy to reach and turn on and off. I do turn it on and off regularly when I'm making it loud at all. Like, I don't just leave it on loud forever. If I'm on a back road, maybe I do, but if I'm heading towards a whole bunch of houses and I'm gonna keep it slow and I'm gonna sort of make sure I'm showing respect to the neighborhood that I'm entering, even if it's out in a rural area, then yeah, I'll put it in quiet. And then when I open it back up, it's very easy to do. So I thought I would dislike the remote, and it turns out I liked it a whole bunch. So leave a comment, subscribe. That really actually helps the channel, which what that means is it helps me. It helps me make more videos and think through content and share with you stuff like the Valentine one, like those goofy shoes that I wore driving, and like this exhaust video, which was a long time coming, but which now gets you, I hope, a really solid feel for what's it like to take a very normal, livable sports car, add simply a catback exhaust, and turn it into Jekyll and Hyde. So now it is Hyde and Hyde minus, because Hyde's the crazy one, Dr. Jekyll's the nerd. And so there's Hyde and Hyde minus. It's not Jekyll and Hyde, it's all Hyde. I still think it's a blast. So this is Doug Lindsay with Autofocus Cars and Vids. Till next time.